Broadcasting to you from somewhere deep in the heart of Texas. Once again, it's me, Honey Ann. And I typed that out so fast, darn it. I put Spirit instead of Spirit. I'll have to correct that in a little bit. Yeah, I was having a sound issue a little bit ago. So I had to go in and correct that and revamp my mic. So forgiveness for the misspelling soul and Spirit. Yeah, let's see here. Okay. Spirit people. All right. I don't think I can correct it while I'm live. Maybe it'll let me. Let me check. Okay, here we go. Right here. Yeah, it will. Well, looky there. I didn't think they would let you do that anymore, or they didn't used to in the past, but I guess you can now. Okay. All right. Here we go. There we go. Yes, correction has been made. But anytime I do a broadcast, when has it ever been perfect? I just roll with it. That's all I can do. I've always been a hot mess, always will be, but I love the Lord. How about that? All right, so um, what we're going to talk about today is the soul and the spirit, people. So let's just see what we can find out about this. We're going to do this together. How about that? So this is our soul, right? So basically, man has something deep inside, an imperceptible, invisible something that gives him supremacy over all other life on this planet. And it's held within the bonds of the consciousness. It's the thing that makes man alive, right? So the Vulcan statue is the largest cast iron statue in the world, and he is the symbol of the city of Birmingham, Alabama. And it was once known as a steel city. Vulcan pays tribute to Birmingham's roots in the iron and steel industry. And it was basically designed by an Italian sculptor named Giuseppe Moretti. And it's made of 29 cast iron sections fastened together from the inside. Now, the heaviest section of his head, it weighs over 5 tons. And these ironworkers, they designed the connections for the statue, which has no internal framework and can stand on its own. So the completed weight of the figure is like 50 tons. It's massive. So when you factor in, the anvil block, the hammer, the spear point, the whole thing weighs a total of like 60 tons. And he stands atop a red mountain on a pedestal 123 feet high. And his chest measures like 22 feet 6 inches. And his waist is like 18 feet and 3 inches. So basically in the 1990s, some people had a chance to see the Vulcan state, with some, it was basically some friends of mine and my family. And so they went and they visited that place over in Birmingham. And looking up at that statue, they had remarked that it sure was a big statue. And, you know, basically, the dimensions of the Vulcan statue can be found online, along with the story, of its construction. But everything you'd want to know about this national treasure, and if you're ever in Birmingham, Alabama, I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you stopped by. I'm just kidding. In reality, he wouldn't know. But, for all his history, his heritage, and his great size, the Vulcan is just a statue. And he has, a body, but no life, no mind, soul, or spirit. And, this is man 1.0, created by God the Father, in the Garden of Eden. And each man has 206 bones making up a frame called a skeleton. And he can weigh anywhere from 2 pounds at birth to 1,000 pounds or more when full grown. So man has organs that provide for his nourishment and maintenance, and he's powered by the heart. A first size pump that forces blood through the 60,000 miles of arteries and capillaries and veins in his body. Now, man has a self contained electrical system, and that's called the nervous system, and the system is driven by his brain. A gelatinous mass producing electric impulses that give man animation and the ability to think and reason. And the average life expectancy of this versatile body is a little more than 70 years. And man has one more thing deep inside, an imperceptible, invisible something that gives him supremacy over all other life on this planet. Locked inside, held within the bonds of his own consciousness, is the thing that makes man alive. So this afternoon, um, I want to talk about this. The dimensions of you, you know, we'll start with your soul. So if you do an internet search on the soul, you'll find many definitions. But one source defines the soul as a currency to trade with the devil. Another says the soul is the intangible imprint of your body in the material world. And I even found one site that says soul is the garden of James Brown and Aretha Franklin. But in the Bible, the soul is given to man by God Himself. Now, in Genesis 2 and 7, the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So it's defined as an immaterial, invisible part of man. And then in Matthew 10 and 28, do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. So the soul is the seat of man's intellect, by which we have desire, feeling, understanding, and reflection. And then in Luke 146, Mary had said, my soul rejoices in the Lord. The soul of man is also very complex. Just as a soul can rejoice, a soul can be troubled. In John 12:27, Jesus said, now my soul is troubled. And what shall I say, Father? Save me from this hour. No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour. So a soul can become damaged. In Job 10:1, I loathe my very life, therefore I will give free rein to my complaint and speak out in the bitterness of my soul. So a person can destroy his or her own soul. Now in Proverbs 6:32, the one who commits adultery with a woman is lacking sense. He destroys his own soul. But one of the best things about a soul is that it can be restored by God. Hey, Chloe. Yes, I've heard about him. Yes. 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 Uh-huh. I heard about all of the Hindus that were making that pilgrimage over there to Sugar Land to see it. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, and have you heard about the Hanuman? Have you heard about them coming back to life in India? That they are surfacing over there? I mean, people are spotting them on the streets in India? Yeah. I have a friend that's Indian, and he was telling me about it maybe 8 months ago. That these they're being spotted. These deities that are coming back. Uh-huh. Yeah. He sent me some videos of them from YouTube actually, but they weren't. They were in Indian, so I didn't really understand what the people were saying. But I actually saw these entities, and excuse me, this was not CGI. This was not no. This was a real deal. So Chloe, I fully believe the old gods are coming back. Whoever people want to call them, whatever they want to call them, I believe these old gods are coming back, and I see it very well possible that they could present the world with these 16 or 17 foot tall people, whether they're tall whites that look like Pleiadians or whether they call them Anunnaki. You know, and you have so many Christians that are brainwashed and they don't believe in aliens. Yet aliens are right there in the Bible, right there in their faces. You know, I quit calling myself Christian years ago, and I quit calling myself religious because I learned the true meaning of those. I mean, the word Christian was just a mockery of those who follow Jesus. In Jesus's time, his thing was called the way. Yes, and then religion's just to control people. I do believe they're being summoned. Absolutely, absolutely. Do you remember, Chloe, when you and I had our phones? You got a new phone finally after that old broke down one you'd had for 100 years. And you were taking pictures of these lights that appear up in the night sky. And you and I had both taken a picture, and I put them side by side, and they looked almost identical. Whatever those things were that were peeking through that portal, because it's a portal, you and I both saw that was a man's face. Even though they were creepy looking, they looked like a giant, like fee, fi, fo, fum. But that's what I believe. I fully believe that's what we caught. We caught these gigantic entities looking through a portal, you know. We just happened to get lucky and snap those pictures. I've still got them. I've still got the two pictures, and I put them side by side. And yeah, it's really creepy. But all this stuff going on now. I mean, I don't know what you're feeling on all this stuff, because some people are saying that the orbs that people are seeing, that those are our government. I'm not so sure I want to believe that. It could be, but they were saying that that's some of the advanced technology with our government, trying getting prepared to run a blue beam on us. And I had heard about the drones that were flying around everywhere not too long ago because somebody had put a you dropped a bomb on me, baby. One of those, one of them new ones that somebody had snuck one into the country. So they were attempting to locate it. Yeah. So no, it's not Venus, but right here where I live, I've been documenting these ships coming through in the night sky, popping here in from nowhere since 2016, and they're still doing it every single night. No, they're not planets. They're not. But it makes me wonder. I'm pretty convinced we're on a flat plane, right? Because you can't convince me that I see curvature anywhere. You know. So, I mean, I've done too many tests now. So, I mean, it's kind of confusing when you're looking for space when you're on a flat plane. But I do believe that we are in an enclosed environment. I've seen the video. Have you seen the video where the hand came down and was forming the star, and it looked like it was underwater or behind the water? I'm pretty convinced space is underwater. Yeah, I'm convinced we're underwater. We're like fish. Because if you think about it, when we were in our mother's womb, we had gills and they healed up, when we were growing. And we're under rain, we're under precipitation, we're under moisture, we're under humidity. I mean, may not be completely immersed in water like a fish is, but I think yeah, we're underwater. I really do. And I'm very convinced. Yeah, but I'm very convinced that the portal to space is going to be under the ocean. It's going to be under the waters. Waters above, waters below. We can't get out from the top, Chloe. So if they're not utilizing portals, then I don't know. But I kind of have a half baked idea that yeah, I have a half baked idea that the orbs we're seeing, and people are seeing a lot of pastel colors in the sky that are being formed that look like aurora borealis. What if it's possible that this whole ascension thing that they're talking about is true? So what if the Earth is literally, going from 3D to 5D, and we're seeing right before our eyes a new heaven and a new Earth being formed, and that's what those little plasma deals are. Yes. Mhm. Maybe those little plasma balls themselves are evidence, of us ascending. And those that don't raise their consciousness, well, they'll just be destroyed. Who knows? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm very convinced right here where I live that it's ley lines, that it's definitely going to be ley lines that open up these portals in between the light towers, the phone towers. I mean, you've seen it in the past whenever I would put it on camera, you know, but that doesn't happen everywhere. But yeah, yeah, right. I mean, people have seen evidence of the white sun and the yellow sun. And, I used to freak out on this. I used to say, well, when you see a yellow sun, that's evidence that it's an old dying sun, and that it's about to go supernova. So, and I used to think, I would ponder and think, well, did our sun go supernova and we were just reset into another reality? But I don't think that's the case. I think that if that's what I was trying to say a minute ago. So, if Planet X or Nibiru is real, maybe it's sitting on another dimension. I don't know, but maybe it was time for it to come back into our existence, and maybe when it came, when it drug in the whole solar system with it and all the junk, it drug in another sun. So maybe our gravitational pull is sucked in this white sun. Who knows? I really don't know. You know, yeah, yeah. Well, I believe in the blue Kachina. I really do. Yeah. But from what I understood, Chloe, the brand new sun starts off as white, and that's why it's so hot. Like when light skinned people go outside, their skin feels like it's sizzling because it's a different type of light because it's a brand new sun. And the blue sun is the blue Kachina. I see that at sunset. When the rays come up from the ground, because it's a lesser light, it's hard to see. So it's usually easiest to locate in the sky at sunrise and sunset. Yeah. The time of blue sun is when we experience the plasma apocalypse. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the blue Kachina, right? Like from the Hopi Indians. And I believe that's here. Yeah. Okay. Right. So that's why I was saying for a long time I was pretty convinced that the yellow sun had went supernova on us. But I mean, maybe you've got the explanation. I don't. But I kind of feel like the Earth itself, wherever our location is, maybe we're on the trail end of Nibiru. I don't know. Maybe we've been pulled out of where we used to be, and that could explain why we're no longer in the Sagittarius arm, and now we're on the Orion Spur, and we've moved further away from that yellow sun. But we've adopted a new white sun, that's maybe from this other planetary system, right? But yeah, when it comes to yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm listening to you. You know me. I'm very open minded. I'm willing to take in somebody else's ideology because we're just trying to figure it out together, honey. I love you to pieces. We're in this together, girl. Yeah. So I had heard the whole ideology on like a plasma apocalypse, right? And you could see from the past, like even in Egypt at the pyramid where the stairs are melted, and you've seen it just like I have in Colorado and Utah, the Grand Canyon, where it looks like antiquated buildings that were literally freaking melted. And I believe that that's the Phoenix phenomenon, the Phoenix event, which happens in 2040. It's supposed to happen like between March or May of 2040. And that's whenever the sky turns to blood, and weird stuff goes down. Yeah. Can't remember anymore. Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, we were on the Sagittarius arm and now we're on the Orion Spur. Um, that's my memory from back in 2016. We used to be way down on the edge, the very edge of the Milky Way galaxy. As a matter of fact, they used to say that we were fixing to travel out of our own freaking our own solar system, our own universe. We were going to be traveling out into the darkness. We were venturing out. And then all of a sudden something happened and it snapped us back into the middle of the galaxy, which made us, I thought, maybe closer to the sun. And way back in 2016, some people would say that there was a whole other planet, just like Earth, like a twin planet that was behind the sun. That's why we couldn't see it. But I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I can remember. I do remember we were on the Sagittarius arm and we got snapped into the Orion Spur. And from what I understand, um, somebody, maybe it was Robert Woods, who told me that we were literally sucked into a black hole and then we're into another black hole. We were like in a black hole inside of another black hole. And that's what made everything so freaky. But yeah, right. And I know with the plasma apocalypse, I know they say it's like the Eye of Ra. It opens up in the top of the firmament, and the best way for it to for people to go through it is when they're sleeping because they won't even know it happened, right? You know, as long as they're in a house that's concreted to the ground, you know. I mean, everything else will get sucked right out of the top. But from what I understand, people that are sleeping, they'll sleep right through it, and then they'll wake up like nothing happened. But the rest of the people, we have to learn how to breathe deeper, more shallow, so that way we don't feel like we're suffocating. But it's supposed to like be from what, like 5 to 30 minutes long, and then it's over. But it's my understanding that after that event occurs, everything changes once again. Our oxygen levels go back to like the times of Adam and Eve, and everybody who's left here will have like superhuman powers. Hey, and the offspring, the children that are born, they'll be born as giants. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Hmm. Yep. I fully believe that. And I think it had something to do with CERN. I think CERN is the one that altered our existence. And I think they did it on purpose because you know what? I feel like the people that are running this world, the people that are in charge of CERN, these are all these same entities and their offspring that are running from judgment for all this shit that they've done. I feel like they did that on purpose as their last chance to run from the creator. Mm, yep, yep. So, have I told you my take on zombies lately? I was sitting there one day and I got this revelation, uh, you know, and a lot of people don't want to, and you know what? That's something else they say. You know how the Christians believe in the rapture of the church? Uh huh. Well, what if the plasma apocalypse is like the rapture, where they get sucked out of the top of the roof? But if we truly do have a rapture, right? So what if when God raises the dead, Chloe, to be raptured, because He raises them first, He raises all the dead, not just the ones that get saved, but all the dead. Hence, you've got zombies walking the earth now. Brains, all the ones that get left behind. There's your zombies. Hmm. I mean, that's a strong possibility. And last week, I came across this old broadcast from 1982 with an old televangelist, and he was talking about. I'm sure you remember this dude. The guy, what was his name? Um, Maitreya. Do you remember that guy Maitreya? That fat. He looked like a fat Jesus, and he was like professing to be Jesus for a long time. Okay, well that guy Maitreya, he's in a cult, and it's. Let's see. Let me think of what the name of it is. Mm, it's the cult of. Um, what? Okay, so it's like it's something that's half animal and half human. It's like a chimera. Okay, well this cult. I'll think of it. Just give me a second. Matter of fact, I might have it written in my book. Anyway, it's a cult that this guy Maitreya is a member of to this day, and that cult presides in Georgia. And what is the name of that cult? It's something like Centaur, but it's not Centaur. It's gonna bug me until I remember it. Anyway, this cult is it's like Christianity a little bit, but here's what he predicted way back in 1982, and this was from research he had done. So this cult is going to basically say, for all the people in the world who are accepting the new order, the new way of living, all these people will be celebrated and they'll be given a number. The people who refuse to acclimate with the new system, they will be ejected from the earth because they will not be worthy of living here. They'll be sent to camps or destroyed or what have you. So, for the people that choose to acclimate with this whole New World Order, mark of the beast, you know, the ones that acclimate, they'll be the good people. Like I said, they said they would be celebrated. But the ones that choose not to go with this system, they will be ejected from the earth. Now, is that not a complete flip side reverse, of what Christianity's taught, how they get raptured out of here? So I think that may be one way for this particular world leaders to explain why so many people disappeared, because they're going to say they were the bad guys and they got ejected from the earth. Yeah. But when I came across that broadcast from 1982, I thought, man, look how far in advance, these people were. They were just so far in advance, I mean, they knew these things. And they weren't pulling it out of their butt. I mean, they were given this knowledge so long ago. It's so interesting. Okay. Let's see. There we go. All right. My computer wouldn't let me unmute my microphone. Diggum. I had a little dry throat. I have to get me a drink. I think I have it written down right here. It's gonna drive me nuts until I find it. It's let's see here. It's not Centaur. It's not Mentor. Let's see. Oh, and that's another thing. Have you heard this? We know NASA lies through their teeth, right? But here recently, I was told that NASA had came forward and said that they created a wormhole, and they were able to go through that wormhole, and they found a whole other galaxy. Yeah, that they were going over there and studying, kind of like how CERN said they were going into other dimensions. But this other galaxy that they discovered, just imagine if they're going in there and studying it, if that's the truth, well, if something's going in, there's got to be crap coming out. And in about the same time that NASA had basically proclaimed that they had found this wormhole and went through it, that's when those little plasma orbs started appearing. So, we really can't tell what's true information and what's false information. We just have to, go within, what feels right with us. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I can do. I have to just go with my instincts. And you know how we are. I mean, we change the way we feel about things sometimes on a daily basis. It's hard to keep up with us. Yeah, yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah, I had that written down too. Okay, so that other galaxy, I mean, it's a whole other freaking galaxy. Like we're in the Milky Way galaxy. Yeah, this is a whole other galaxy that they discovered, and that one is the one that has the freaking name of the Chimera name, the name of whatever's half man and half animal. It just makes me wonder if these are things that they're creating themselves. And it also makes sense to me. For a long time, Chloe, I wondered why why has Elon Musk taken charge over NASA? And why did he create the? I mean, I thought, well, it was intelligent of him to create these rockets that would go up to the top and then come back down, right? And some people, say that the reason why he does that is because supposedly he's delivering supplies to the space station. But you know what I think, honestly? I think that they have hidden knowledge from us, and I think maybe once every so often the top of that firmament does open up. And I think whenever he shoots those rockets up there, I think they're going up there and they're taking pictures and they're really studying, the top of the firmament to see if it's time or if it's opening. Because I think, like how he said he wanted to go to Mars or whatever, maybe that's how they think they're going to escape this place. Because they're on lockdown. They've been on lockdown since the beginning of time for the crap they did. So just what if, that's why he's always sending those rockets up there, because they're really studying to see if it looks like it's about to open. I mean, anything's possible, right? And a lot of times whenever we have an inkling about something, we're pretty much spot on. We're not led astray on these things. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to see if it was in my little notebook here, but it's somewhere. And also, did you hear that? Okay, so every time the United States enters into the Chinese zodiac of the snake, like clockwork, America goes to war. And guess what we're in right now? The snake. Now, to show you proof of that, World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, Vietnam, Afghanistan, every one of those wars were Year of the Snake. Yep. Let's see what it says here. It looked more like a portal. Let me go back up. I missed a little bit what you typed. Okay. I had told you. I literally actually saw a real. Yeah. I look like a portal. There's a wormhole. I saw it midday while I was at work. Okay. There's been a small hole into CERN. Supposedly they can open portal over. Yeah, I've heard that too. Is the year cycle 9.9 means completion. Uh-huh. I swear UFO. Yeah, I believe it. I believe what you're saying. I fully believe it. I'm just wondering how much of these UFOs are our guys. I mean, these things that I've been recording since 2016, I fully am convinced those are not our guys. That is not the Americans doing that. No, ma'am. Because, the way these things, just the way they are, And what would be the purpose for America to be every night coming through, in the night sky like that, and heading east? They always come in the west and they always head east. So, yeah. Centaurus. I think it's Centaurus. Yeah, I think that's the name of that Centaurus. Centaur. Yeah. Yeah, Centaurus is the name of that galaxy. I'm pretty sure that NASA said that they had discovered. And I'm mad that I can't remember the name of that cult. Dadgummit. I'm really mad because it's something so simple. It starts with an S as well. But yeah. Like a cloud. It's black. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I can't explain what these ships in the back are coming through. What is it? I mean, my night sky, there's nothing there. I don't live by an airport. I don't live in the city. Nothing like that. And, there's nothing in the sky. Then they just start flickering. Boop, 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 boop. They get brighter and brighter, bigger, bigger. And they make it through all the way. They go way high up in the sky, turn on lights. They come in like white. And they get really big. And then they turn on red flashers like they're real planes. Yeah. Yeah. The name of that cult is, I just can't think of it. That galaxy was Centaurus, but the name of that cult, um, I've got it written down somewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember it. Yep. But it's located in Georgia, And that guy Maitreya is a cult member. He's a member of that cult. Yeah. I wonder if I saved it on my phone on my OI speech to text. Let me look. I might have. That may be where I have it. Let me check real quick. Because I want to tell you the name of it. Boy, there it is right there. Okay. Alright. Let me check real quick. Oh, it's the cult of Shambhala. Yeah, that's what it's called. The cult of Shambhala. Let's see here. Okay. Shambhala cult, the one world government. Okay. I think I told you everything the way it goes. Okay, it's a 1985 um, thing where the televangelist was talking. Okay. Okay. So, what it says here is, okay. It says the Shambhala cult is an ancient cult from Babylon that teaches the rapture of the church. It's the Shambhala cult church, a satanic cult, which is the rat. And it says, where are they going? Okay, it says, teaching the rapture of the church, except it's twisted. It's twisted. If they don't come at it as God doing it, they come at it and hold it from like this. It says, so let me take you back slowly and tell you about it. Okay, so it says here, you could check the math, and then it says, this Shambhala cult, it's a very unusual cult because through the generations, it's shown up in different forms with different names, but today it's called Shambhala. And in the past, it was called some other things, which it says I wouldn't even try to pronounce. But here, okay, so it says they're headquartered in Georgia today, and many of the leaders are involved in it of our country. And it says, do you believe? Okay, let's see here. It says these are New Age people, and they're all aware of this worldwide network. And it says here, one of the main leaders recently in an article, let's see, let's see, I'm going down, get to the important part. So it says he was talking about things that the Bible predicted for it. And he was talking about that only one way to remove the threat of nuclear war is by totally destroying all nuclear weapons and uniting the world. And then the Bible talks about the same thing, that our world will become one, you know. And then it says the Antichrist, the man of sin, will do that for a brief period. And then it says, let me take you back to this Shambhala. This will really interest you. It says, all right, it's an Asian cult or a Babylonian cult, basically, that came in different shapes and forms and different names, but with the same idea. The idea is this. I think I've got feedback. Let me turn off this YouTube on my phone. Okay, sorry about that. I could hear. I hope you're not having to hear feedback too. Okay, so it says here. Let me get back over here where I was. Okay. All right. Okay. Back to where I was. Okay. So he says, one of the main leaders recently in an article, he says, I read, he said, I got mad and thrilled all at once because this leader was talking about things that the Bible had predicted. Back down here where I was. So now the Bible talks about the Antichrist. I said that. Okay. Okay. So it said it's from ancient Babylon. It came in different shapes and names and stuff. And the idea is this. Now, this I know will sound to you like the Arabs excuse me, like the aliens from space. But believe me, I'm telling you the truth. It teaches, first of all, that higher beings, intelligent beings from space, will one day unite with the consciousness of human beings, and it teaches the oneness between these beings and the human race. It also teaches that the day will come, once this force unites with the human race, that the human race will unite into one people, one government, and led by a man who today, by the way, is somewhat in Europe. It says a few years ago, large ads came out, and they were getting a connection with the Messiah here, and that was Maitreya, right? So it connected that same cult, and it's the same teaching. And if you remember, they said he will soon appear, and he will speak he'll speak to your inner man. That sounds to me like some V2K or something, or some Blue Beam. But it says it shows you that kind of influence and money those people must have. And the cult also teaches now, here's the exciting part. It teaches when this force takes over that many will oppose it. And it says punishment for opposing that cult would be removal from the planet. Yeah. So there you go. That's a little bit more detail, so it's not so confusing. So it says the whole plan that this cult is talking about, it's almost a carbon copy of God's plan, twisting. Satan is nothing but a big copycat, a liar, and they teach that, and they say the human race. And once the human race sees this, and they see how those who will oppose this force will be removed, that they would be there would be a thorough ceremony and be initiated into the listener. And they call it the lucid initiation. The lucid initiation. And it says a number, let's see, and they'll be given a number. So there you go. So it says those who oppose it will be removed, and secondly, those who remain will be honored and celebrated through a ceremony with a number. So that's pretty much the gist of it. But it says, yeah, that's it. It's pretty nuts, but it goes along with what the Bible says, just the opposite order. Yep. Okay. So anyway, there's that with the cult of Shambhala. So let me see what else she said. Yeah. Yeah, well, you remember we learned about Shambhala being, one of those old ancient lands that people used to search for, Hey, Mandela Mile, how you doing, honey? We were just talking about this crazy cult of Shambhala. Remember with the guy Maitreya, the one that claimed to be Jesus a long time ago? He looked like a fat Jesus. Yeah. They're kind of doing a twist on the rapture. They're basically saying that the one world order will come together, and the people that choose to acclimate with that and the aliens, they'll be celebrated, honored, and given a number, like the mark. And then the people that don't choose to agree with it or acclimate with it, they're saying that they'll be removed from the planet because, they'll no longer be welcome. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, I'm gonna get back over here real quick and get through this before my husband comes in. I'm pretty hungry. I'm starving, man. Okay. See where I was. No, it was somewhere up in here. Let's see. Alrighty. Alright, here we go. So I was talking today about the spirit and the soul because it's been a while. I kind of went out on the lamb, was farthest from being holy, after my mom died because she was talked into taking the jab, by my stepdad. So last few years I've been pretty darn angry, and I've been kind of in a rebellious state. Oh Lord, have I rebelled? I'm trying to get back to who I used to be, but you know, It's happening slowly, you guys. Yeah. Yeah, I've felt like, I'm not worthy. I can't speak about, the Lord and the soul and things like that when I'm acting like a total shit. It is what it is. So, in Psalm 23, 1 through 3, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the quiet waters. He restores my soul. So, the soul can be restored because all souls are very valuable to God and to men. And then Matthew 16:26, for what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? So see, I used to say all the time with Tina, even with Tina when I used to, hang out with her, I used to say the Bible says you can't sell your soul to the devil because your soul belongs to God. It comes from God and it returns to God. But this is kind of why I'm talking on this today, because I've learned some new information. So if you think about God, God is a spirit. And what did he do? He breathed the breath of life into you. So he breathed a spirit, when he breathed the spirit into you, you became alive. Your soul, that's connected to your body, which is more earthly and carnal. So if you, just like in the book of Revelations, right? Whenever the church of Laodicea, or however you pronounce that, they were screwing up because they were worshiping false gods. They were praying at idols, they weren't for God, and so they kind of got in trouble for that. They were literally selling their soul to these entities. So that's how Hollywood's able to sell their soul and make the pact with the devil, because that's with the body, that's carnal, but your spirit is what God breathed into you, which is the breath of life, which goes along with the Holy Spirit. I hope that makes sense to what I just said, because it made perfect sense to me. Because at first I was thinking, well, these people in Hollywood are just being deceived whenever they say they sold their soul to the devil, but you can literally sell your soul. If you're out here worshiping false gods and idols and all this crap, you can do that. You can sell your soul, but not your spirit. So, anyway, that was kind of what piqued my interest. So, if you think about it, God is the creator of the soul, and each soul must have great value to him, like I was saying. And according to data, genetics.com, the value of all chemicals that make up the human body is about $160. How about that? So your soul is the most valuable possession, and it's the essence of who you are. So your soul was created by God to live forever after everything else is turned to dust. So when the sun and the stars are burned out, your soul will still go on, if you stay on the right track. So endless, measureless, timeless, and made in the image of God. But your soul is worth more than all the houses or properties, stocks and bonds, diamonds, silver, gold in the whole world. And your soul is what goes on forever into eternity. And your body can be killed, right? So your body can return to dust, but your soul will never cease to exist. So is it the soul that goes to hell? Let's find out. So think about it. You don't just possess a soul. God made you in his image. You have a soul. You live in a body, and you're created in the image of God. So, but the problem with a lot of people is this: they take good care of the body and they forget about the soul. So our bodies, send a message and we respond to what it needs. So the body says, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, and we find it something to eat or drink. And the body says, I'm hot, or I'm cold, so we adjust the temperature. And the body says, I'm hurt, I have pain, or some other need, so we pamper the body and we feed the body. And we rest the body and we love the body. But sometimes the soul is left for days, weeks, months, years without attention and care. So, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? The word soul is in the Bible 458 times. So, it must be important to God and to man. And since the beginning, men understood that the soul was alive. The Bible says the soul can be separated from God, and Satan is constantly trying to facilitate that separation. In Isaiah 59, 1 through 2, Surely the arm of the Lord is not too short to save, nor his ear too dull to hear. But your iniquities have separated you from your God. So, it says basically that your sins have hidden his face from you so that he will not hear. In 1 Peter 5:8, be alert and be of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. So the soul clings to a loved one, or like a dear family member, and the soul can leave this world and never return. So this is David at the death of his firstborn, a child taken by God because of the king's adultery. In 2 Samuel 12:20, it says, Then David got up from the ground after he had washed, put on lotions, and changed his clothes. He went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. And then he went to his own house. And at his request, they served him food, and he ate. His attendants asked him, Why are you acting this way? While the child was alive, you fasted and wept, but now that the child is dead, you get up and eat. He answered, While the child was still alive, I fasted and wept. And I thought, Who knows? The Lord may be gracious to me and let the child live. But now that he is dead, why should I go on fasting? Can I bring him back again? I'll go to him, but he will not return to me. Sorry about that noise. I have cotton mouth. Okay. So worst of all, the soul can sin, and that carries the greatest penalty of all. So Ezekiel 18:20, the soul who sins will die. So with man having the potential to lose or save his soul, Satan seeking to destroy the soul, and life taking its own toll, hindering our growth, defiling the soul, keeping us too busy to care for or work on the soul. So the soul at war with itself. I mean, how can the soul, created by God in his image to live forever in eternity with him? I mean, how can it last that long? How can the soul make it? And how does the soul find its way or stay on track or put itself up or find the power to heal and emerge victorious to be with God in heaven? I mean, just as God is the restorer of souls, he is the salvation of the soul as well. So in Deuteronomy 4:29, you'll seek the Lord with, your God, and you'll find him if you search for him with all your heart and with all your soul. So, when the soul is thirsty and when the soul needs to be blessed, when the soul needs satisfaction, seek those things in the creator of the soul, God your Father. And the value of your soul, is measured by his concern with saving it. So 2 Peter 3:9 says, God is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. And then Romans 5:8 says, God demonstrates his own love towards us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So to God, your soul is the most valuable thing in the world. So valuable that he sent his only son to the cross to suffer and die so your soul might be saved. So if you were the only person in the whole universe, Jesus would have died for just you, He would have done it for you. I mean, that's how much God loves your soul, and that's how much, he loves you and me. So it's a terrible thing to lose your health, your money, your friends. But what does it cost when a person loses his soul? I mean, think about it. The times we hear of Amber Alerts for missing children, or people come from all around to look for a missing child. We call the police, and, the trained dogs, they go search. The media, and the platforms, they get the word out. And there's flyers and posters, the missing child, they're made up and put all around the area. Search and rescue teams are organized. They might get a helicopter, and everything that it's humanly possible is done to find that child. But if a person's soul is lost, that doesn't get a lot of press, does it? I mean, that doesn't cause a lot of excitement, but nothing is worth more than your soul. So there's no substitute for your soul, and there's no replacement for it. So Jesus said it would be a poor bargain to own everything but lose your soul. So think about it. Nobody can ever gain the whole world, but God owns it all anyway. I mean, he doesn't need anything from us, but he still wants your soul. People will sell their souls so cheaply. And Jesus says, what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? An illustration, and the lesson is yours. I mean, there was a rich man who decided to immigrate from Europe to America, and he wanted to take all of his wealth with him. And he came up with a deal to sell everything he had of value and buy one large diamond. And when he got to America, he was going to sell it and start a new life. Excuse me. So when he boarded the ship, he took the diamond out of his pocket. And some people around him saw the diamond and how large it was. And the next day, the man took the diamond out of his pocket again, and he held it in his hand. And people were talking about how rich this man must be to have such a large diamond. The more the people talked, the more the man liked, the notoriety and the attention. And the next day, he took the diamond out of his pocket and he held it over, the rail of the boat, over the water. The people watched, gasped. He got more attention when he tossed it in the air and caught it. The other passengers, they continued to talk and they were talking about the man's wealth. And so they didn't know that one diamond was all he had in the world. And then one day he took the diamond out of his pocket and he tossed it into the air and he missed it and it bounced and it rolled right past the rail and over the side into the ocean. The man said to himself, "What a fool I was. How could I be so careless?" Don't take chances like that with your soul. Think about it. Your soul is all you have. But people sit in church pews unmoved and their hearts unbroken, as hard as a diamond. And people, they still take chances with their eternal destiny, you know. Just 1 second. Let me see who's calling me here. So, give me 1 second. Let me look here. Hey Tessie, love you girl, but I'm right in the middle of a broadcast right now. I'll come over there whenever I get done, okay? Love you. Okay. So, anyway, betting on tomorrow that maybe someday, they'll give their lives to Jesus. I mean, don't be careless, with the most valuable thing you have. Even if you could get everything you wanted, it wouldn't give you peace. I mean, you'd still be searching. Great riches can't really make you happy now, can they? You know? And if they do, it's only going to be temporary on this earthly plane, you know? To me, only the peace of God coming into your heart through Jesus can bring peace and joy and happiness. The eternal soul can only live one of two ways. The first is eternally separated from God. And if that condition isn't made right in the life by being reconciled with God through his son, then that soul is separated from God for eternity. And the only real way to live, is to accept Christ's sacrifice for your sins. I mean, that's the way I was raised. That's my indoctrination. That's my belief with my whole heart and soul. I have a lot of friends that are Muslim, and they're always, speaking about how their faith is different from ours. And I, I felt like they were trying to convert me, and they might not have been. But finally, I just came to a point, and I told them, I said, "Look, I am so indoctrinated into my faith. I believe it with my every ounce of my being. So much is to the point where Jesus Christ himself could knock on my front door and say, I didn't die on the cross. That was all a lie." And I'd say, "Get out of here. You're not my Jesus." I mean, that's how much I believe in this man that we call Yeshua or Jesus Christ. That's how much I fully believe his story, and I believe, and I'll never change my belief system, you know. But I have been freed from the indoctrination, the deep indoctrination that I used to be in. you know, because it's just a book. I mean, that's what basically the message I was given in my heart. I mean, yeah, it's a lesson to learn, a history lesson, and it's teachings of how Christ, wanted us to behave and things like that. But it's just a book. We can't worship a book. We have to go within, because that's where God lives. He lives within us. We are the church. So that's how I feel. A lot of people don't see it that way, but I think it's the personal relationship you carry with the Creator. So, um, I mean, Christ asked for more than just coming to church, or having a relationship with Him. He asked more than just baptized, being baptized, or more than just trying to behave properly. I mean, he wants our total surrender. That's of our mind, our heart, and our body, and that's every part of us. That's the lordship of Christ. So, that's just the way it is, you know. And I don't have an issue with that, you know. I mean, he knows each and every one of us. Like they say, he knows every hair. He's counted every hair on our heads. He knows everything about us, you know. And I fully surrender. I know I'm imperfect. God knows I'm far from perfect, but I'll never change my faith. I'll never change how much I love Him and want to serve Him, and I want to please Him. You know. So I've got one more on the spirit and one more on the soul and the spirit, and I'll probably come back in here tomorrow and finish that off. And yeah, if anybody's interested in coming back and listening, but Mandela Mile, so good to see you. Yes. Let me see what all you wrote. What Mandela Mile wrote. What makes us different, valuable winners. Maybe it's all one. Yeah. Like you was seeking, ravaging was seeking to make the power. Yes, okay. Well, sometimes you take it when you're right. There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm glad to see y'all are still here on this earth kicking, because I'm still kicking like a chicken. Not going to take me down. I'll see you on the next one, ladies. Much love. I enjoyed the talk. Bye bye.